Hello YouTube, and welcome back to the tutorial series teaching you how to use Photoshop efficiently and effectively. And if you hear me start cursing for some odd reason, it is because of one foolish boy on a call with me. But never mind that. Let's see. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is show you all how to properly use filters. So, I'm going to create a new template for us. So let's call it filters. Okay, and now we'll be able to let's pick a nice photo size. A custom photo size should be just a normal one like 8.5 by 11. Should work effectively. Okay, then the resolution should be around 300 because I like my resolution be a little bit big. And then I like to go to 16 bits. Okay? And don't worry about this guy. I'm going to show you something about this guy a little later. He is our prime minister. But never mind that. Let's go by the filters. What I'm going to do right now is use the select tool to build our base. We have to start off someplace, right? So let's see. Let's start with just four nice colors, like purple. Then we also get a little bit reselect. And let's go with, I gonna make this oddly shaped. People who have OCD, don't watch this part. Blue. Then I also gonna do this as well. Reselect. Select over. Pick a different color. This is just a little setting up process. Don't worry about it. I want to make sure you was here. I know I could have just did this beforehand, but I want to make sure that you'll know exactly what I'm doing. Instead of just you suddenly come in a video and this is already here. So let me just finish this off and it should be finished. Should be finished with the setting up process anyway. So let's see. I'm going to use a green template for this. So this should be purple, blue, green, and red. And there. And then I'm going to make this one nicely big and even. Okay, people. Okay. Now, let's see. What do you think this color should be? It's almost like a brownish yellow. And what do you think this color should be? It looks like a brownish yellow to me. Yeah, more like a brown, but never mind that. And the rest can be almost like a dark, almost like a light blue. Let's say this, a light blue. Okay, now we're finished with the setup. So now we'll be able to finally learn how to use the filters, the main course. This is the main course now. Okay, let me just take this from the background layer. You see all these little things? All these little things I'm going to show you on the next episode. So, the first thing we're going to do is pick the first filter, blur. All I'm going to do is just use the blur tool, and you see all, not a blur tool, the blur filter, and use all of these. But I'm not going to, I'm going to tell you how to implement it, but I won't tell you how to use it. I'm just going to show you what it does and how to effectively use it in a proper manner, such as if you want to use it to spell A, B, or C, I'll let you spell Z, Y, and X. Say that. Let's say that. I don't have to tell you exactly how to use Photoshop, but I'll tell you how to use it. But now, the first one, the field blur. The field blur, you see the starting to blur right at the middle here. You press OK and cancel when you're finished using it, and you could ramp up how much blur you want, and you see it starts to blur out. Simple as that. There's the field blur, and you can also change the blur by this little circle ring right here. You get it, people? And also, you can use these type of presets right here. You can check these on if you want to, and scroll, put it down, and you get even more presets. And you can get even more blurs, like an iris blur, and also you can also get a tilt blur, a tilt shift, things like that. But let me just take these blurs, the blur field and the blur iris off, just so it don't just kill my computer. Then you get a light blue. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce this. Hopefully y'all can see this. I don't know how to pronounce that. This is just for effect on the blur. So if I go back to, if I highlight field blur again, this is add a little effect to the blurs. Should be anyway. I can't notice any effect, maybe. At the present moment, I can't notice any effect on the blurs at the current moment. But they're there, don't worry about them. But they're there, don't worry about them. But the blur to the field, let me just tell you what the field blur mainly does. The field blur mainly does is to blur out an entire area or field that you're working with. Basically, it's just basic sense field blur. You're blurring out the field, iris and tilt, all these come together. And you get average blur. You see this doing come with a preset. So be careful with some of them. Make sure your history tool is your best friend in Photoshop. So you have to remember that. Okay, let's go back to blur and let's go to regular blur. This one should have a preset. No? It don't have a preset. So let's go back. But you notice that there was a slight blur, but not a noticeable blur. So let me go back to blur and click blur more. Do you see anything new? Nope. Yes, it is blurring out, but it's only blurring out slightly. You got to remember that. And always make sure your layer is highlighted and your layer is not locked. Remember that at all times. Let's go to box blur. Let's have a 7 for sure, I know that. Okay, so we have box blur. So, you see, it starts to blur. It's a basic blur. It blurs in a box type, a box shape. Then basically, it starts to blur outwards in a block type shape. That's what the blocks for blur mainly does. I love Gaussian blur because Gaussian blur can do a lot of things. It is perfect for taking out, let's say this. It's perfect for taking out, blurring something in the background. Non-standard blur don't really do a well job on that. So that's why I like Gaussian blur. As well as you can do some neat tricks with Gaussian blur. You can actually make a standard photo look like a, let's say, hand-drawn piece of art. So I'm going to share that in a later video because we're mainly focusing on filters at the current moment. Then we got length blur. You see this even the more fancier setup, but bear with it, please. Hexagon. The shape will be a hexagon. This would be very, very funny. Radius should be like that. I'm just going to show you what all it does. You see it already starting to blur. Notice, remember, always notice it already starting to blur when you take off the radius. Then the rotation of the blur, then the brightness. You could actually, and